Hi, and welcome back to my Millfield story with Advait Patodia. My name is Advait, and today I have the privilege of conversing with Mr. James Guy. A four-time world champion and Olympic medalist, James was part of the prep school at Millfield and then went on to the senior school. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for us, James, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, James, in this crazy world that we live in, with all the negativity and constant change, my first question to you is, how are you?
I'm okay, mate. At the minute, it's been obviously been a very difficult time for everyone across the world. Obviously, there's a world pandemic going on right now, and it's hard. Life isn't easy at the minute. You know, everything's changed. As they say, people are saying this is the new normal for people. But yeah, just trying to keep fit, keep positive, and keep strong mentally, physically.
So, building on keeping fit, what exactly has been your fitness and training routine like over lockdown?
It was really challenging. So previously to lockdown, I was in Australia for a 4 week training camp in the middle of probably end of February to start of March. Came back home and I was racing in Edinburgh one weekend, and we were told that the Olympic trials, the qualification for the Olympic Games was cancelled. So we went, okay. Then we were told everything's going into lockdown, went home, and it was challenging. But the things with us though, being at a national centre in British swimming, we never stopped training. So we were doing Zoom calls every day, on the bike, weight sessions at home. You know, we never physically stopped training. I had a pool put in the garden, a big jacuzzi. It was a really interesting time. Being away out the water properly for 10 weeks was really tough. But you know, you learn a lot about things in life. Obviously, spending 10 weeks at home with my family, not been home like that since I was 18 or 19, a long time ago. Um, but it was hard, and obviously, you know, I was privileged enough to be back in the pool after probably the middle of May when lockdown was still happening. And you know, it kind of went from there. You know, it was to think about the Olympic Games being cancelled, just trying to keep fit, keep strong, and then come back in September time and get ready to go for it again.
So, James, obviously we've talked about lockdown, but let's roll back the years and take me back to what your childhood was like. I mean, before Millfield and the first few years of Millfield.
So I originally am from Manchester, England. Born and raised there. My dad's side is full Indian, and mother's side is Irish. So you know, being raised in Manchester, I obviously tried different sports as a kid. You know, swimming, football, hockey, rugby. Love being outdoors. And I was just trying swimming, and I remember doing one day. I might have been swimming, gymnastics, kung fu. I was a massive Bruce Lee fan. And I think just, you know, once I found the love for swimming and the love for it grew, it became, you know, I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to go to the Olympic Games, and that was my kind of distinguished goal from 11 years old. My first club was a club called Trafford Metro. I learned to swim there by a lady called Moira Hampson, who's still going today. She still works there. You know, and obviously kind of getting better and better, qualifying for the regional meets, going to the nationals, you know, being the best 11-year-old in the country, winning national titles at a young age. You know, it was something that I wanted to do, and I could see that I wanted to, you know, progress in the sport and be the next, you know, the next Michael Phelps or the first James Guy. And then obviously that led to coming down to Millfield School. My dad had a new job based in the southwest of England, and he was my coach left up north in Manchester. So we were kind of stuck thinking, where do we go now for my swimming career to kind of kick off? And we thought, why not Millfield School? You know, it's a renowned sporting school, academics, music, drama, you know, theatre. It's very well known for that. And obviously, you know, hearing about the people who've been there before, like big sports stars, Chris Robshaw, you know, and the list goes on and on. You know, Millfield came into the option. So I went down for an interview day at the prep school. I was there for one day, and I remember walking in and thinking, if I've got a chance to make it, this is the place to do it. And I was blown away that people were really friendly and nice. Went to the boarding house, Edgerley Manor, and it went from there. And I came down the next month and I started.
And it's an incredible story, and I'm very sure that you've very well become the first James Guy. Your dream has been fulfilled there for sure. So building on that, was Michael Phelps your inspiration when you were growing up, James?
It was weird. I never really had just one kind of athlete. You know, my granddad Guy, you know, when he was over in India, he came to the UK when he was really young. He was a boxer. Had nothing. Came over with a £5 note on a ship and kind of built a life over in the UK. Had 5 kids, my dad being the youngest one out of 4 sisters. He was my inspiration at a young age. I looked up to him loads. Ian Thorpe was a big mentor of mine. I looked up to quite a lot. I had different people for different reasons. I always believe that having more than one role model, you can take all the best ideas out of different people and put it together as one, and that's what I kind of did really. But yeah, swimming as a kid, I never thought that I'd be at this level, but it was a dream of mine to do that and to actually do it, become a world champion, go to the Olympics, win a medal. I thought that as a kid I could do that, but to actually do it is something different. But yeah, it just shows if you can work hard and you believe and you can achieve it.
Mm-hmm. So you spoke about Millfield in your first month and your first day, and you said that if you wanted to make it, this was the place to come. What was your prep school experience like, and is there any memory that you remember from there that you treasure?
Yeah, of course. I remember my first day down here as a taster day, being with Mr. and Mrs. Close at Egley Manor, Helen Golby, who's I think she's still coaching there now. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I remember one of the Russian boys, Oleg Dyachenko, went through the whole school with him together, through the prep school and senior school. And it was just like, I remember him coming up to me and said, my name's Oleg, shook my hand. And it's just like, it's just something completely different, I'm with, really well respected children and kids, cultured, very well mannered people. And, I love the whole experience. My best friend, I lived with him, met him on the second day. I remember being on the taster day, having lunch in the dining hall. And this kid came up next to me, a guy called George Mather. And from that day, he became one of my best friends. And obviously when I joined down and joined the school properly, he's found as well. And we became very, very close. And he's my best friend now. And he's getting his best man next year. So you kind of make friends for life at Millfield, and that's what I've done. But yeah, I remember just obviously being at school. Obviously, you do dorm raiding, you do all that. You get told off, and that's part of boarding school life. And it was great memories. But it was interesting because I've never been away from home that young before and that long. So not having mum and dad around, my little brother, not being with my family every night, I found it really hard to adjust to that. Being with 3 lads I didn't really know. Being with different people, different environments, something completely new. I struggled quite a bit. I found it really, really hard. But obviously, you learn different things. You learn about kind of making your own bed, cleaning your sheets, being productive. Life lessons that are going to help you in the future. That kind of set the setting stones for me for where I am now.
And and moving on to senior school after you finished prep school, what was that transition like for you in terms of academic and of course sport as well?
It was interesting because when I joined the prep school, the whole deal for me was if I came to the prep school, I swam with the senior school people. And so, being with older athletes, it was nice for me to chase people in the pool all the time, being on someone's toes, trying to race them all the time, being competitive. That's what kind of helped me drive a lot more. Obviously, then for moving from the prep school to senior school, being with people like, I'm a guy called James Disney May, who's in Butley House, went to the Olympic Games in 2012, being with older people who are 17, 18, maybe only 13, looking up to older athletes, that helps quite a lot. Being with older guys who are kind of a lot stronger than you, a lot faster, it's something to achieve and strive for. But that definitely helped quite a bit, just being at a bigger school, more kids, meeting new friends. I absolutely loved it. And obviously that kind of year, my old coach Joel Fink, who's the head coach at Millfield now, my coach at Bath NC, he was my coach at Bath NC until I moved last year. Being with him for 8 years is a long time. So we found each other at Millfield, and obviously I wouldn't be here where I am today without him. But academically wise, it was great. It was a new start for me. It was a new classroom, new friends, new people. And I was very motivated to do well, but obviously finding that balance is very, very difficult. Being a full-time athlete and doing the studying, it was not easy.
Mm-hmm. And to those watching, we have the privilege of having an Olympic level pool at Millfield. James, you spoke about swimming in the pool with people who are older than you. What was it like having the experience and having the kind of privilege, like I said, of having a pool of that size and that standard at school?
You know, when you come to Millfield, you don't see kind of standard equipment. You see the best having an Olympic-sized pool. Training in that every single day at a school. It's very, very rare. You don't see that in normal places. Maybe across the world, but definitely in the UK, you don't really see that. And you have to take advantage of it. It's there, so use it as much as you can. Don't let it be like set to waste. Having that kind of the Olympic swimming coaches there, people who know the sport of swimming, having everything around you, all the tools around you. It's down to you to do the work. Millfield presents itself to you as a load of opportunity all the time, and that's what you have to take it in your hand and run with it and use it as much as you can.
So James, you said that when you were 11 years old, you already had envisioned competing in the Olympics. But as you grew older, near your sixth form time, or maybe your year 10, year 11s, did you ever consider any other career path at all?
For me and myself, I had a different mentality than most people. My kind of philosophy was, I love swimming. I want to be the best in the world. And that was my only choice. I didn't have any other kind of anything else come into my head. I wanted to go down the property route when I was older, which I want to do hopefully soon. But for me, it was to be an Olympic medalist and a world champion and be the best in the world. And that was my dream job, to do that. And I've done that, and I'm doing that. Nothing else ever came into my head at all. You can speak to Mr. Ewan Dale, who's the head coach there now, who had me at 14, 15. The work effort you have to put in. I didn't care about my schoolwork. I did. I wanted to pass my exams and do well in school as well as a backup plan. But on a day-to-day basis, it was just swim, 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 swim. And that's what I think it takes to be the best in the world, or whatever it is in your sport, or whatever path you go down in life. It has to be an obsession. Where you can go in and give it 110% every single day, relax and shut off. And that was for me and my swimming career. And nothing else ever came in the way of that. If you weren't going to help me, then, I didn't really see a value to them. And obviously being with friends every day, my friends, we all swam together, we all ate together, we trained together. Two of the lads were in Homecroft in Kingsholm. One of them was a day pupil in me in Great House. And, we had this friendship where we wanted to be the best at what we did, and we wanted to do well.
And all of this hard work of yours certainly paid off, but it also paid off in the 2012 European Junior Championships, where you won. That was your first major medal. So take me back there. What was that like for you?
Wow, it's a long time ago. So this was me in year 11 now, and Ewan Dale was being my coach, who's the head coach at Millfield now, and Joel Finker as well, who was the previous head coach, who's at Bath National Centre. And that was my first year of making my first kind of GB junior team. And I remember going to the Olympic trials in London. Obviously, London Olympic Games was massive. You had to qualify for the Olympic Games in London at the March trials, they call it. It's called the Olympic trials, where you make the team. And for me, and a lot of kids my age at 16, 17, was the chance to qualify for the European Juniors. And that was my goal. That was my only goal, was to make the European Juniors, obviously. And then, so once I was there, I did that. And, that was it. Job done. Got the qualification time, you go in, sorted. And obviously, that meet there, my front crawl and freestyle had improved a lot dramatically. And I thought, I'm number one now in the country for my age for this event. I've hardly even done any work for it. Let's keep doing what I'm doing. I'm in a great place. My schoolwork's going well. Do my GCSEs this year. And it was tough, but obviously, fast forwarding it to July time to the European Juniors, going there, racing the guys who are the best in Europe at your age, getting a bronze medal there. It was amazing. It was a real confidence booster for me, and it kind of gave me a bit of a life lesson. It doesn't matter who you are on the day. It doesn't matter how fast you swim all year, because there was guys who would swim faster than me most of the time, but on that day I battered them and I beat them. It's that kind of build, that one day that matters. And then when you do it, it's done. And that's where it worked for me. And obviously getting the bronze was fantastic. And it was a great confidence booster.
And like you said, James, you were in year 11 when this happened. So talk me through how that affected your personal life at school.
It was challenging because obviously GCSEs are a big part of a student's life, wherever you go. So getting these exams done is really, really important. And, I'll, I can honestly admit, I remember my dad putting me on the Millfield revision course. You know, there was an option to go to, I might have been, I think it was Spain on a swimming camp with GB. My dad said to me, "No, you're not going. You're doing the Millfield revision course." So I literally took a full week out of training to get my GCSEs done, work on my maths, work on my history and biology, and I did it. And sometimes you have to take these risks and obviously put your schoolwork first, and that is really, really important. Getting your exams done, getting a good grade, because you can't swim forever, you can't be an athlete forever. You have to have a backup plan. Um, but yeah, it was a tough year because obviously I wanted to get my exams done and obviously do well in them. So that was always in the back of my mind. It was kind of you do your swimming and then you do your schoolwork, and that was it. It was just a year of focusing, and it was worth every kind of risk and doing the extra lessons. It all paid off, and it always will do. You put the work in, it'll pay off. But apart from that, nothing really changed, mate. From year 9 to year 13, it was literally eat, sleep, schoolwork, and swim.
Um, and James, you were in Great House, which is one of our day houses at Millfield. So tell me, I mean, obviously you had friends who were boarders as well. How do you think being a day pupil at Millfield was different, or what was your experience like as a day pupil at Millfield?
You know, I think if I was a boarder, I wouldn't be as good as I am today because I feel as if, having my parents literally round the corner, walking home after training, you know, being at a settled environment where my dad can look after me and can look after me, you know, it was nice to go home and shut off. Well, I feel as if sometimes if you're boarding, then there can be distractions there. You can go out on campus, you can have fun with your mates, but to be at the best level in something or to be at a high level, you can't be doing that. You have to kind of go back, shut off, relax. Walking around playing football on campus at half 9, 10 o'clock. That's not going to help you the next day for half 5 morning training. You have to be able to shut off and go home. So I think having the best of both worlds, being at Millfield, having great friends who are boarders, having good friends who are day pupils, being able to go home for lunch on a Wednesday, having a bit something different, got a big session on Wednesday afternoon. It was the best of both worlds, and that's why I love being a day pupil. You can see your family and see your mates, and I love that. It really worked for me.
And my last question about your Millfield days before we move on to the big transition that you had was, is there any one moment that was just so incredible or something so memorable that you treasure right now?
Um, I think I couldn't tell you. There's loads of memories. I think might have been when I was in upper sixth in year 13. There was a whole school assembly, and our previous headmaster, Mr. Considine, who was there, he I remember he called my name. I said, "James Guy, can you come up to the desk front, please?" Obviously, I walked up. The whole school was there, and just said to me what I'd won. I think I'd won the European Juniors. I won the World Juniors. Went to the World Championships, came fifth in the Open. In the Open, then, I was 17 at the time, and having the whole school recognise me and clap for me, it was something really, really special. And that's one thing I remember today was just I turned around and the whole school was there, giving me clapping. It was very, very, it was an honourable moment, and I just think that was a special moment for me at Millfield. I love that.
And moving on from your year 13, you left Millfield in 2014 after finishing a sixth form. What do you
Yeah.
think happened next, in your own words? What was the story after that?
It was tough. It was a really tough transition, and I'll tell you why. Because when I finished school, all my friends had left, but I was still there training every day, seeing people I saw who were my old girlfriend who was at school, seeing her, and it was different because you're not with your friends anymore. You've moved on, but because you're still there every single day, it was hard. It was hard to kind of get out that Millfield environment a little bit. You're 19, you're getting older. That's one thing I found challenging was kind of trying to get away from that. Um, but luckily, my swimming was getting better and better. I was working really, really hard. The program at Milford was working for me. I was getting faster and faster. So I knew leaving Milford was not the right thing to do. Obviously, with Rio Olympics in 2 years, I thought I've got to keep doing what I'm doing. It's working. Why change anything? Um, but the actual transition from a junior to senior was quite smooth. I was very good at the kind of late teens, being now a senior athlete, being 19, 20, being one of the best in the team with Adam Peaty, Ben Proud, Duncan Scott, dominant males in the team. I was up there with them, and that following year, winning the World Championships, it was great, and you know that transition was quite smooth. The one thing that I found that very, very valuable being around street and being around Millfield wasn't many distractions. It was literally eat, sleep, swim, go fishing on the weekend. There wasn't much to do, and to be a high performer athlete, distractions aren't what you need, and that's why I think it helped me in the long term today.
And in 2014, you also lowered the British record again in the 400 meter freestyle in the Commonwealth Games. What was your training like at that moment? You spoke about you working really hard in 2014. Could you give us a bit of the specifics on that?
Yeah, so it was a really weird year because obviously I just left school, um, and yeah, just left year 13. And I remember we went on a training camp to, I think it might have been Cyprus for 2 weeks with the Millfield team. Really, really hard camp, hard meters, hard work, swimming 7 to 8 kilometers a session. It was very, very interesting. It was tough. The pool was really, really warm, which made things a lot harder. Um, but yeah, to swim that time at the Commonwealth Games, it was my first kind of international medal as a senior athlete. And I was nervous because the guy who I was racing against, Matt Horton, who's the current Olympic champion today in the 400 in Rio, the year before the Commonwealth Games, he beat me at the Pool Juniors, so he won, I got second. So, to race him again, it was going to be tough, and obviously I beat him to third place. So, that for me was my kind of chance to kind of make a name for myself a little bit on the senior kind of world of swimming, and that was kind of my benchmark meet, and that was my first opening meet really to do that, and it worked.
And you spoke about Rio in 2016. Obviously, you won an Olympic medal, and a lot of people would consider this a career highlight. Where exactly does that medal rank in terms of your achievements for you?
Mate, that's a great question. I think probably second or third on my achievements. I think it's not quite the best. Um, you know, I wanted to do better in Rio. I wanted to do a lot better than that. It was a really, really, really tough meet for me. I felt very, very pressured. Being my first ever Olympic Games, I put a lot of pressure on myself. So I was thinking about things I didn't need to think about. You know, I was nervous, and being the favourite to win an event is a lot of pressure on someone. And I found I struggled a little bit. But once I found my confidence and everything, I've just got into the meet a little bit. I was thinking process of the meet process. What can I do to swim a fast time? Think about the first length, not use your legs too much, rather than thinking about the outcome. That's when it goes wrong, and it did go wrong for me. Something I learned in the future is something I learned at the biggest meet of my life, which is great. Um, but yeah, I definitely rank it as probably the third best thing I've done. I think not quite the top.
What was the top out of curiosity?
The top one for me was the year before, and it was winning the world title in the 200 freestyle. Being an individual world champion, beating the second best swimmer of all time, Ryan Lochte, beating the world record holder, you know, some James guy from Millfield School who's 19, no one's ever heard of him, to beat these Olympic athletes. It was great. It was a massive shock to me, and to actually do it, it was amazing.
And is there any secret or mantra to your success? Any words of wisdom that you live by?
Yeah, of course. I've always found you have to work hard in the pool and obviously work hard in your job or whatever it is. But what about the things that people don't see? The things you do at home, your diet, the extra bits that before bedtime, the press ups, the sit ups, the extra bits that all add up towards the end. People that see, they only see the light bit. They don't see the dark behind the dark times, the dark work you do when no one's watching. What can you do extra that's going to benefit you? It could be stretching, it could be, eating well. All these little things add up long term. And I feel like, that's what I live by, doing the extra bits that are going to help you, which no one ever sees. For example, let's say I'm doing press ups at home every evening before bed. I'm thinking, will my main rival be doing that at home? Probably not. Kind of getting a confidence booster from doing that, doing extra bits that no one sees, and adding up towards the biggest meet of your life. going to give you a massive confidence booster because you're thinking, I've done all this extra work on top of what I've been doing. I'm fitter, I'm stronger. I've shown that by what I've been doing at night on my own. It's going to help you long term.
Mm. You spoke about all the extra work you were doing, and obviously that must have put a little bit of pressure on you. How exactly do you deal with the pressure of performing at such a high level?
It's just practice. And the thing is, you've got to think about, at the end of the day, it's only swimming, swimming in a little pool. That's it. It's not life or death. It's swimming 4 lengths in a pool. And we do that every single day. It's not going to be the end, but all in all, there's life after swimming, there's life after sport. And that's it. It's not going to be the end of the world if you don't perform well. But obviously, you want to swim well for your family, for your friends, and for yourself, and for your team. And sometimes it can be very, very pressurizing. But it's just practice. Go to training every day, practice there, work hard. Visualizing of how you want to do things in the race. Visualization of what you want to do. Circumstances that could put you in the wrong situation. There's so many things you can work on. That's really, really important.
And you said that a match day a race day is basically just 4 laps around the pool. Is there anything different that you do when you're racing or at the competition day, or what's your process on that day?
Usually, it's very, very simple. I've had the same routine since I was a young kid, and that's just wake up, have a bowl of porridge, have my headphones in, try and keep relaxed and cool, go to the pool, stretch off. I always get in the pool an hour before I race. So if I'm racing at 10 o'clock, I'll warm up at 9 o'clock, ritual thing I've done. Get kind of nice and loose, get my heart rate going a little bit, get warmed up, a bit of pace work in there, get out, keep warm, headphones in again. And I listen to like old school R&B. So the old school Craig David stuff is what I listen to. It keeps me nice and relaxed. I love that. And that's it, And the main thing for me is you have to enjoy it and believe in yourself. If you're having doubts and you're not confident in that, and the voice in the back of your head saying, "Oh, I'm nervous. Let's just leave it. Let's just not try hard enough," or whatever it is. You're not going to swim well. Being confident in yourself, be confident in your coach and the work you've done. And that's it. It's very, very simple. People that overcomplicate things don't perform well. The best things in life are kept simple, and I believe that's the exact same in sport as well.
Where would you say your favorite place is to swim?
Favorite place to swim would be probably either Budapest, Hungary. I'm actually leaving there on Monday for 6 weeks, so hopefully I have a COVID test on Friday. Hopefully it's negative, so I can go out there. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we're praying. Budapest, Hungary is the best arena I've ever seen in my life. The noise there is unbelievable. 20,000 arena, and the Hungarians, they love swimming. So as you walk out, they're chanting for you, and it's just like, it's mind-boggling. You want to fight someone, you get that fight up. It's amazing. There's a pool in Dubai in the middle of the desert. I can't remember what it's called. And Singapore's an awesome place.
What do you think your best swim or your best ever race was?
Best ever race, so I have two. Obviously, winning the 200 freestyle in 2015. Being a world champion for the first time, and beating all these amazing athletes. And then the year, it might have been 2 years after. No, we'll go to Rio. Racing Michael Phelps head to head on the medley relay, his last race ever. Being beside him, I hadn't done much butterfly work. I was a renowned freestyle swimmer, and to do butterfly, they said, "Right, Jimmy, you're doing the 100 final the relay." I'm like, I've not done any butterfly work at all. So for me to be told to do that, I'm thinking, right, okay, I'm going against Michael Phelps, the greatest swimmer of all time. But it didn't faze me at all. It didn't faze me. But to be beside him, it's like it's the equivalent of boxing Muhammad Ali. Racing Lewis Hamilton. Racing the best guys in the world. Playing golf with Tiger Woods. That's the level it's at. And to be beside Michael Phelps was amazing. And the last one was, splitting the third fastest time in history. And that was in 2017, anchoring the relay for the British swimming team to be world champions again, beating the Russians, beating the Americans. The time was unbelievable. I couldn't believe I'd done it. And it just shows you that hard work will always pay off.
And you've spoken about all these incredible achievements you've had, but my question is, what comes next for you? What happens after your swimming days are over?
I mean, that's a great question. I've always wanted to be, a broker, selling properties. That's one thing I've always wanted to do. I find properties fascinating. It's the route I want to go down. I have friends who work for big corporate companies, Savills, Knight Frank, and hopefully when my swimming days are over, I can start kind of getting get my foot into the door of them businesses and just kind of work my way up. I have that drive, to do well in life, to work hard, be the best at something. That's the thing I want to do after my swimming days are over. And I think having that plan as well, having that backup plan is always really, really important. You find a lot of athletes who they'll finish their career and they think, what do I do now? They've got nothing in place for that. And that's really, really important to have that as a backup plan. And yeah, I love to go down that route and hopefully, do well in it.
Is there any advice you'd give to a younger you?
I'd say work harder in school because I didn't work that hard. And obviously school is really, really important, and the help you get at Millfield is amazing. I had one-to-ones with Mr. McHugh and Mr. Jennings, my maths teacher, Mrs. Bevan. They helped me because they knew what I was doing in the pool. How busy I was all the time, being away for weeks and then on training camps with the British team. It wasn't easy, and they helped me a lot. They really, really helped me, and it's just work harder in school because that's really important.
And you said earlier that the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo this year has been delayed, it's been postponed. Do you have any update on that you would be able to give us?
Of course. So, obviously it's been postponed to this time next year. So hopefully it'll be July, August time in 2021. The Olympic trials are in March next year. So everything is geared towards that now to qualify for them. We're not sure whether there will be people watching the games there, because obviously coronavirus is a massive, massive impact now, and obviously the cases are rising again. But so far, the games are still on, and everything towards that is focused towards the Olympic Games and thinking long term. That's going to help me in my future. So it's just kind of getting prepped for that and getting things right for it and getting fit as I can for it. I found Rio was just an okay meet. It was a lot learnt from there. Where Tokyo will be different, and I know it will be.
That's the kind of mentality that I think a lot of people should have, and that's something that I really admire, James. But now we've spoken about your life before Millfield, your life at Millfield, and obviously the transition between your Millfield days into your world champion days now. I want to talk to you about something, and I want to talk to all of you about something that's very close to the Millfield community and also very close to James as well, and that is Together Band. Together Band is a global movement that aims to spread the United Nations 17 global goals through creativity and culture. The designs have helped raise funds for some incredible projects, and all of us at Millfield really encourage you to get involved with this. James, you're an ambassador for goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitary water. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. You see across the world, obviously being in water all the time. My grandparents are from India, a very poor part of of the world. You see obviously on the news generally across Africa and poor countries, they don't have clean water to drink. And it can obviously give them diseases and long-term illnesses, which is obviously it can kill people. Obviously being in Britain, we're fortunate to have clean water, have a nice lifestyle, but thinking about these third world countries, they don't have that. They're struggling for water, they don't drink for days. And it's hard. You know, you look at, we take water for granted, my bottle's here, it's full, but people in, third world countries, they're struggling for a glass of water, and it's not even clean, it's not sanitized, it's not healthy, there's bacteria inside it, and it's important to get that message across of, we want that across the world, we want that kind of, if it's a glass of water and it's clean, it's fresh, it's important to get that message across, and, it's important.
How else do you think we can help?
It's just kind of, you're not wasting things, not wasting water, taking things for granted. Just think about maybe one day, donating to a local charity or looking online, looking at ways to give back a little bit, being at Millfield School, being very privileged, having that kind of amazing dining hall, the amazing food we've got, it's all taken for granted sometimes, I believe. And obviously giving back, I think is really, really important. The homeless people outside, people who haven't got food or water to drink, you know, sometimes it's important to give back.
I 100% agree. And that's why, again, I'd like to really ask all of you to try and donate or try and get involved with Together Band, because it's an amazing project. James, now to end off, I'd like to end on a light note. So we have a few questions that the Millfield staff and students really wanted to ask you. So if you don't mind answering them. First one is, who is your favorite teacher at school?
Mr. McEwen.
Was he a business teacher? He actually teaches me as well.
McEwen. Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. McEwen. I had him for sixth form business. He was great. He's a really good bloke. Yeah.
What do you think was the hardest moment of your professional career?
It was probably, getting fourth at Olympics in Rio. Being the world champion the year before, winning that event at the World Championships, being the best in the world, touching the wall and seeing fourth, the worst place to finish. I remember looking at the board and I just felt my heart just sunk. I was 0.2 off winning a bronze medal. And we're going up to the crowd in the middle of Rio, people taking pictures, asking for autographs, and just crying to my dad, and my little brother there. And it's just the worst feeling in the world. But obviously you learn, don't you? It's just life, and these things happen. But yeah, you move on. It was a tough event, but I came back stronger, and winning 2 medals in Rio after that was great. Made up for it.
Was there anything unexpected or something you hadn't anticipated when you reached the top? I mean, for example, media attention or asking or been doing a lot of interviews or anything like that?
No, not really. Obviously you have to be careful what you post. Not being stupid, not bringing media attention to yourself. Being sensible behaviour, because you're a role model now. You have kids looking up to you, and that's important. And kind of give the right message out. Not being silly on social media, being respectful, being generally a nice person. People remember the greats like Roger Federer. He's a nice person. He's not a Mario Balotelli or a Paul Pogba. He's a nice person. They get United players, but generally you want to give that vibe across. With actually, he's a really nice person. He's a nice guy. Just go and talk to him, and I'll talk back to you. That's kind of the message I want to give across. That a lot of the best athletes in the world, they are nice people, and that's what I want to spread.
And then my last question to you, James, are there any words of wisdom or advice or anything you'd like to say to everyone at Millfield and just everyone watching in general?
Joining Millfield in 2008, it was a risk, but obviously where I am now, I won't be where I am today without the Millfield staff and obviously my friends there. All them being supportive of me, helping me achieve my dream of being the best in the world. I wouldn't be where I am today without Millfield at all. Would not be there. My old headmaster, the staff, just being in that environment, my friends around me. I think about it all the time. I miss being at school with my friends. I enjoy it while you're there because it's not forever. You might hate school, you might hate being there, but once it's gone, and you will miss it. Because I didn't want to be at school. Who does? But now looking back, you think I actually miss it. I miss being around the staff and my friends. So don't take it for granted and enjoy it.
Thanks, James. Again, I'd like to thank James for his time and taking a long time actually out of his precious time in the day. It's been fantastic to talk to him, and I think all of us have gotten a new perspective on motivation, work ethic, ambition, and just generally how to give back to the community and be a good person, as you said, James. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.